Rain streaked down the tall café windows, blurring the city lights into a watercolor of gold and gray. Daniel Reed sat alone at a corner table, hands wrapped around a chipped ceramic mug, the coffee long gone cold. He liked this café because it was quiet enough to think, but today, his thoughts were heavy. Bills. Rent. Grocery lists. School supplies for Lily. Always Lily. His daughter was 8, bright as the sun, and obsessed with chess lately thanks to the after-school club. She talked about rooks and forks and endgames the way other kids talked about cartoons. Daniel listened to every word, partly because he loved her passion, partly because he didn't have the heart to tell her he couldn't afford the nice wooden chess set she'd been eyeing in the toy store window. 2 years ago, life had been different. He'd been an aerospace engineer, married, and financially stable. Then the accident happened, and the woman he loved was gone. Overnight, he was a single father with a mortgage he couldn't keep and grief that didn't care about bank statements. He sold the house, moved into a modest apartment, and took whatever handyman jobs came his way. The café's door swung open, and a hush rippled across the room. Alexandra Kane had that effect. Tall, poised, dressed in a midnight blue coat that looked like it belonged in a fashion magazine, she carried herself like someone who owned not just this building but half the skyline outside. Which, in a way, she did. Kane Global Enterprises had fingers in everything from tech to real estate. She was a self-made billionaire and the city's youngest power player, famous for her intellect, her elegance, and a smirk that could unnerve seasoned CEOs. Daniel had seen her on magazine covers. He never imagined she'd notice him. But she did. Her eyes swept the room and landed on him. Without hesitation, she walked over, heels clicking softly on the wood floor. "Do you play chess?" she asked, holding up a small café chess set she'd just borrowed from the counter. Daniel blinked. "A little," he said cautiously. Her lips curved into that trademark smirk. "Good. Let's make it interesting. Beat me in chess and I'll marry you." The café went dead silent. A barista froze mid-pour. Daniel almost laughed. "And if I lose?" "You buy me coffee," she said simply. "But I should warn you, I don't lose." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "I'm not sure I'm the marrying type." "Then you have nothing to worry about," she said, setting the board between them. They began. Alexandra opened confidently, pieces moving with precision. Daniel matched her pace, but his eyes weren't locked on her moves, they were calculating the board as a whole. In 3 quick exchanges, he cornered her king. Checkmate. The room erupted in soft gasps and whispers. Alexandra stared at the board, then at him. For a split second, the mask slipped, she was genuinely surprised. Then she smiled, a real one this time. "Well, Mr. Reed." "Daniel Reed." "Well, Mr. Reed," she said, standing and pulling on her coat, "it seems I owe you a marriage." "I think that's legally questionable," Daniel replied, amused. "Maybe," she said, already walking away. "But I keep my promises. We'll talk soon." Daniel assumed she was joking. He had no idea she meant it. 3 days later, there was a knock at his apartment door. He opened it to find Alexandra Kane standing there, holding a gleaming wooden chess set. "This is for Lily," she said without preamble. "School mentioned she's their best player. Thought she could use a proper board." Daniel frowned. "How do you?" "I do my homework," she said simply. "And I'd like to make you an offer." He sighed. "If this is about the café." "It's not. I want to hire you." Daniel laughed incredulously. "As what?" "Your personal chess coach." "As head engineer for my company's new aerospace division," she said. "I've seen your work history. You're overqualified for the jobs you've been taking. This isn't charity. It's business, and I don't make bad investments." Daniel hesitated. He'd walked away from engineering after his wife's death because the memories hurt too much. But Lily's hopeful eyes as she traced the polished chessboard told him maybe it was time to try again. He took the job. Working for Alexandra was intense. She demanded excellence but never micromanaged, and beneath the icy CEO exterior, Daniel saw glimpses of warmth, like the way she'd linger at the break room when Lily visited, pretending to be checking her phone while actually listening to Lily chatter about school. Weeks turned into months. Daniel's designs began shaping the company's future. Lily thrived, and Alexandra, well, she was still Alexandra, but there were moments when the smirk softened into something gentler. One Friday evening, after a long meeting, Alexandra invited him to a charity gala. Daniel almost said no, tuxedos and champagne weren't his world, but Lily insisted. The gala was a whirlwind of speeches, music, and flashing cameras. Toward the end, the host announced a surprise fundraising challenge, a live chess match against Alexandra Kane. A $10,000 donation for every piece she lost. Alexandra scanned the crowd. "Daniel," she called, "care to play?" The room chuckled. Everyone knew about the café story by now, it had somehow leaked online, complete with grainy phone videos. Daniel grinned. "If I win, what happens?" Her smirk returned. "We'll talk about marriage." They played. It was longer this time, but in the end, Daniel's queen slid into place. Checkmate. The crowd roared, and the pledges poured in, over $200,000 for the children's hospital. Alexandra leaned across the board, voice low. "You realize you've beaten me twice now." "Guess that makes me your fiancé," Daniel teased. "Guess it does," she murmured, almost shy. It wasn't a proposal in the traditional sense. There was no ring, no kneeling. Just two people who'd found something unexpected in each other, trust, laughter, and a strange sense of home. Months later, they married in a small ceremony by the lake. Lily stood between them, grinning so wide Daniel thought her face might split. Alexandra, in a simple ivory dress, looked nothing like the intimidating figure from the café that day. She looked happy. As they signed the papers, Alexandra leaned in and whispered, "Best investment I ever made." Daniel squeezed her hand. "Best 3 moves I ever made." And for the first time in years, Daniel believed the future wasn't something to survive, it was something to look forward to.